about the environment, if I talk about Katrina, if I talk about the war, if I talk about the president, if I talk about Banner, if I talk about Sarah Palin, these are issues that concern everyone. And today, people are finding out that the polarization that is tried by political parties in this country cannot work if we are able to survive. That's what we talked about, and that's what we appealed. Plus, we forged many, many new avenues.
But didn't that kind of subject matter lend itself to an older audience? Are young people interested in those issues?
I think to suggest that does a disservice unless you do the survey, unless you prove that they're not listening. Where are the figures coming from? We have young people calling us. What is young? 18, 35? Is young 45 and over? If you look at my website, if you look at BevSmithTalks.com, if you look at my Facebook page, the average age, because I ask a question, do you listen to me? And if you do, how old are you? Do you listen to me? And if you do, what region do you come from? Because I want to know.
Did AURN, and you say you've had a good long-term relationship with it, did they just say this to you and make it a fact that was complete? Did they not show you the data that says that what they say is true about the demographics and the race?
They showed me Nielsen across the board. And I am being rated, as most shows are rated, but I'm an African American who has a specific audience and a show. And at my level, internally with an affiliate, you would do your own survey to determine. And then you would launch a campaign.
Is that part of the problem, though? AURN had to sell WAMO, its local affiliates, for many of the same kinds of reasons that they say that the non-urban dictates that companies have, that they just won't buy a black woman or a black radio station's time because they think they've got them in other markets on other stations.
Well, I don't know whether that's true or not, because we keep a record of the commercials that run at my show, and it appeals from everything from baby aspirins to condoms. So certainly, we skew.
My
mother's watching. My mother's watching.
I Mrs. Sloan.
My mother's watching. So
you raised
to condoms, and so it appeals. But this is what I'm curious about. We African Americans are at a very perilous time. I'm leaving on Saturday to go at the invitation of Minister Louis Farrakhan to be a part of the 16th anniversary of the Million Man March. He's asked me to speak on the stage because no one is carrying the message that there is even a Million Man March. Have you seen it? Have you heard about it? No, you haven't. In Philadelphia on this Sunday coming up. I'm leaving to do that. On the air, I promoted that as I did with the first Million Man March.
But is that part of the problem because of the controversial nature of subjects you've done, the interviews you've done? I remember when at the August Wilson Center you invited Minister Farrakhan to come here. There were a number of people who protested that. Do you think that there's been some sort of blowback because you do controversial subjects and talk to controversial people like Minister Farrakhan?
You'd have to ask management about that because I don't know. What do I believe internally? I believe that there's been a lot of political pressure. I believe that there are people who call in and say, get that woman off. I don't want her talking about racism. I don't want her talking about this. But I'm talking to African American people. I'm talking to black people who are old and elderly and disenfranchised. The heck with what they say. I'm talking to them. How dare you come to me and tell me who I can talk to? I'm not telling you who you can talk to.
You know, I had the same problem when we were doing Black Talk on the defunct WCXJ out there, that people were concerned about the issues that we addressed, and that there would be whites who would call KDKA, where I now work, and say, you know, that station was bought with government money, and it was not. They would tell lies on you because you were addressing subjects from an African-American perspective that they just simply did not want to hear.
But see, not only were we doing that, but I started a series in 1998 called To Your Health, Black America, and we were able to get African-American men in large numbers to go and have their prostate examinations. I started this show, and I had a heart surgeon on who was black. And a woman in Philadelphia who listened to me had just left an emergency room with her mother who had had a heart attack. And a black elderly woman, they sent her back home. And this woman called a radio show, mine, and asked me if I could help her. I had the member of the Medical Association for African American Doctors, a heart surgeon, white on the air. We called a doctor in Philadelphia, and the next thing you know, the ambulance was there. We were right there. We have people in Katrina to get a house right here. The late Gwen Elliott donated a home to me. And Chuck Sanders and others brought money so we could fix that home up for a family. We connected people who were missing. We have a job to do. This is not just a talk show. You know that.
If this job is not done and there's more work to be done, then how will it get done if there's no medium?
I'm going to do it on the internet. I'm going to keep talking on YouTube. The information has to be given. I'm going around the country beginning at the first of the year with a series of things called Conversation with Bev Smith and Friends. I'm going to call a gathering. I'm going to start a black tea party. I'm a busy old lady. And the message has to get out there. The message has to get out there. The baby boomers are the ones who are spending the dollars, and the advertisers know that. But you know what? We need a town crier. God has given me this assignment, and I'm going to do it. And you know, every time I speak out, it's going to be controversial. No one wants to talk about racism. No one wants to talk. A black person talking to an embedded reporter in Iraq or in Pakistan or whatever. We cross the border for information. No apology. We aim it at the black American community. No apology. If you listen and you speak Spanish, join us. If you listen and you are Asian, join us. Learn the truth about us. We started Moments in Black History. We're going to be joining the Black Chronicle and getting that information out on the internet, telling what African Americans have done. If you don't like it, I'm sorry, but it's the truth.
Can you do this through this new medium called the internet and still make enough money to continue doing it?
Yes, you can.
You sound like you have a plan.
I do have a plan. I do have a plan. I've been in this business for 42 years. Yes, I have. Began right here at this station. Yes, I have. And so I'm respected across the country. I have integrity across the country. And there are people who have contacted me who want to run the show Monday.
Well, what about the syndicators like Westwood One and others? Why is it that there are so few black people? And I think I read on Robin Beckham's website the one or two other people nationally on the show. I'm on the weekends on KDKA, and everybody talks about the others that are out there, and there's so very few. What it seems to me, Westwood One would be beating down your door.
Well, not only that, but there are many other outlets that could be beating down my door. But here's the question for us. Do we wait on them to beat down the door, or do we find a way ourselves? And in my particular case, since I've been in this business, I've always found a way myself. When one door shuts, another one opens. Or as Willie Jolly, you know Willie Jolly. Willie Jolly is a student of the Les Brown School, very famous innovator, inspirational thing, whispered in my ear when I was hosting John Conyers, the congressman's, the hearings at the Congressional Black Caucus, and he whispered in my ear and he said, "A setback is a setup for a comeback. I'm coming back. And yes, I can talk. And yes, there are people who will cooperate. Get a t-shirt from me. Advertise with me. Get on board."
Why did AURN end the show earlier, almost a month earlier than it was announced that it would end?
Well, let's clarify that. They have not ended the show. They're playing the best of. But they ended the live show, which disappointed me tremendously.
But why? Were they trying to control what you were about to say? Were you talking bad about management on there? You know that's enough.
Well, you know, you have to read my book, Talking While Black. That'll be out at the first of the year, part 1. But no, I think that there was a lot of controversy, and there was concern about controlling the callers that were going to call in, and, you know, controlling Bev Smith. I think there was a concern there. And so they called me up on the telephone when I was on my way from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and said, "We're going to pull the show." They're the syndicator. They have the right to do that. But you know what? It's not just about that golden calf. It's about more than that. And I was very sad because I have a relationship with my audience, which you know is not just people talking to me on the radio. Black people have nowhere to go. Black people go to a Rush Limbaugh, he cuts them off. And speaking about old, you said, why aren't there any blacks? If you are older, and he is, if you skew to an older audience, and he does.
You're talking about Rush Limbaugh.
I'm talking about Rush Limbaugh. And he is the highest paid, but he's a white man and you get paid. If I
you suggest there's discrimination based on race and sex.
I fit all the categories. I can check it all out.
All right. Our number here is 412-333-PCNC. If you'd like to talk to Ms. Bev, we've got one more segment with her, and we invite you to give us a call right now. Again, 412-333-PCNC. Ms. Bev